cheap because they're pretty high performance. You can go pretty fast.
So like 30K.
It depends on the option, yeah. Suspension and the motors in them. Yeah, slingshot. That's what they're called, slingshots.
Ah!
Give it a little knocky. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I don't know. I'm scared. Help. Give it a little wiggle. Oh! This is too much. I'm sweating.
Get it.
I can't.
You got it. Get it.
No.
You gotta get it now. Okay, you're not supposed to hold it.
I don't care.
Put it up there. Oh crap, now it's my turn. Come on, Kelly.
They're all cooled down. I can't do
What's she doing? Oh, she got it. She got it. You got this.
No, that one's fixed.
You got this. Come on.
No, they're not moving.
We got way higher than the boys.
Ours is a little bit higher.
No, it wasn't. We killed you guys.
No, it's falling. It's falling. I feel it. It's falling. It's falling. No, it's tilting. Fix
Faster
it.
than a cannonball.
No, it's gonna fall. I don't want it to fall.
Let it go, Cal. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
No, I fixed it. Okay, we're not touching it. I fixed it.
Ah, crap. It's all up to me now.
No, it's falling. It's falling. It's falling. It's falling. No,
Get it.
No,
Get it.
It's falling. I feel it. If I let go, it's all gonna fall.
Let it go.
No. Can you hold on to it?
Let it go.
I can't do it. I can't.
Let it go. Wait, no, you gotta, Kelly. You have to put the seat. You have to put the seat on. Your turn.
No.
Do it.
I know. I didn't make it.
Get it, Kelly.
I can't do this anymore. I can't do it.
Do one more.
She won't go near it. That is the most delicious drink in the world.
I can't go over there.
Get it, Kelly.
You can do it.
Get it, Kelly.
Can't.
Get it. It's all you, girl. Kelly, get it. It's your turn. It's your turn. Get it, Kelly.
No,
Come on.
there's no more.
Get over. Get over there.
You already broke my nail. I'm gonna get a concussion.
Now you have me spill my drink.
You're gonna give me a concussion. I'm not doing it.
You just made me spill my drink.
Don't forget your sunglasses.
Get it.
Don't forget your
I
sunglasses.
won't. Get it, Kelly.
No. There's nowhere to take it from.
You have to do it. You have to finish the game.
It
You
is
can't-
finished.
You cannot leave it finished.
It is finished.
It's not finished.
Look, they're all glued.
Kelly, finish.
They're all glued. They're all done, right?
It's not all done. It's not finished.
No, I don't like messes.
There's nothing left.
I don't like messes.
She doesn't want to. I can't.
I'm too
Just leave it.
I'm
It's
too
good, it's
OCD.
good. Yeah.
I can. Oh. No, Brian, you can't help
So
her.
that's not one.
You can't help her. You cannot help her.
I love that song.
You can't help her, Brian.
I don't want to see any else.
Brian, no, Brian, you can't help her.
I'm verifying.
Brian,
I'm
no.
tagging somebody in.
There, that's it. There's the
Kelly,
mark.
it is your turn. We have to finish this game.
It's finished.
It's not
I don't
finished.
want it to fall.
It is not finished.
That one.
Brian, no. Brian, no. Kelly has to finish this
I
game.
don't.
You have to.
Brian, you're not even.
No, Brian. No, Brian.
There's something in that burst that you wouldn't have caught with a single picture. Is it just any questions or comments or anything?
Are we in the right group?
What who are you looking for? With us in the here and now. So like if you watch those ghost hunting shows, they'll use all those devices to talk with us to answer our questions. They'll knock on the wall if you ask them to, you know, they will communicate with you. So there are some people believe that this is Molly's intelligent spirit telling those investigators to get out of her room that day. Like I said, I have my own theory. I will talk about that as soon as you guys all listen. It's gonna be pretty loud. If you need me to play it again, I will. Just let me know. So, I don't know about you guys, but to me that sounds like a woman who is screaming for her life, who is going through something very traumatizing. So I believe that that is Molly's residual energy stuck in that room, because not my last investigation, but the one before that, I caught a very similar EVP. It's not as clear, but it's the same repetition of words, the same tone of voice. You can hear her saying, oh my God, get out, help, she's screaming. There's even speculation that she's speaking Haitian. So I'm not convinced that that was her intelligent spirit, just because of what I caught from my own investigations and the fact of the tone of voice. You know, a lot of times it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So you can take what you want from that. There's other spirits over there that linger out in the carriage house. One of them, his name is Mr. Samuel. He is known to kind of like protect the carriage house. If you ever go over there, you walk up there, he's really friendly, but he'll let you know, like, you're not really wanted over there, because that wasn't a space for us to go. That was their own private space. So I'm gonna leave it at that. If you guys have any questions, I would be glad to answer them. And I'm gonna give you guys like 5 minutes. If you actually wanna go over there and take your own pictures, you can. You can go in the alleyway behind where the carriage house is. You can go to the side of the house and the front of the house. I just ask that you don't go in the courtyard. So through that little archway, was for the enslaved people. So people believe that it usually happens in the middle of the night, but a lot of times it happens in the day.
Some of the people that have like even used with what's going on with you here.
That was around midnight, so it wasn't even around that witching hour time that everyone was seeing that we were
Right.
The nights that I heard that scream and right to where it was the night I left my investigation here. That night here was one of my most important investigations I've ever done since 2016.
Yeah.
So I left here feeling very sick, and like the farther I got away from the house, the better I started to feel. And then I got to right to where I heard that scream, and I was just like, I'm done. I need a vacation. So yeah. But yeah, if something happened at any time. When I was 20, that's like my very first like personal experience with like spirits. It was actually demonic stuff that was happening, and that stuff was happening in the daytime.
He's kind of a tall, dark, shadowy figure, but he's got a very terrifying face. I believe some people on my tour have captured it. I don't have photos of it because they deleted the photos on their phones. It scared them. So if you guys do capture something, I'd love for a photo before you delete it. I I understand possibly deleting things. Now the cigar smoke wouldn't have been from someone in the house in the basement. It would have been from a possible soldier. People also see soldiers in this basement area. Now that being, before this house was built, this land, one of the bloodiest battles of the Revolutionary War, when we were still a colony of England, we were fighting the French, was fought here in this square. This is Madison Square. There's actually two large mass graves on this square of all the people that died during this battle of the Revolutionary War. Now, like I said, before this house was built,
He stopped in Savannah. A lot of his men were sick and dying from that march. So he actually made a deal with the mayor that if he gave him a place to set up camp, that he would not destroy Savannah. So the mayor gave them the cemetery. So thousands of men, hundreds of horses stormed in here. The horses were kicking over the headstones, digging up the ground, disturbing the peace that is supposed to be in cemeteries. That was also the coldest winter on record in Savannah. So once the men set up camp here, they realized that grass is not a good insulator for heat. Now back then for the military, the joining age was 16. However, you could simply lie about your age. So a lot of the 16-year-old boys were actually around 12 years old. So very young. So they would come in here, and all these vaults you see in the cemetery, they're like basically like underground mausoleums. So those soldiers broke into those vaults to try to keep warm. They'd go down into the vaults, and sometimes they would take the bodies off the shelves. They would catch them on fire to keep warm. So again, disturbing, people's resting spots. After they got too warm and too bored in the vaults, they would come out into the cemetery to find something to entertain themselves. 12-year-old boys like to be destructive. So they thought, well, we said we wouldn't destroy Savannah, but no one said we couldn't have a little fun. So if you walk around this cemetery in the daytime and you look at some of these headstones, you will see that some people have lived to be over 400 years old. Some people were born before their parents were born. Some people attended their own funerals alive. Some people, like over here where those people are standing right behind them, one of those flat headstones, you can clearly see where they etched in an extra number with their knives, their bayonets. Apparently Savannah's greatest mayor ever was 15 years old. So these boys literally went around and they had a field day editing these headstones, basically putting in extra numbers, and you can clearly see where those numbers are because they do not match the ones that are printed on those headstones. So that is why there's so much activity here, because all these people that were buried here, all their peace was disturbed by these men and boys that stormed in here. So something I want to point out to you guys really quick. If you look at the brick underneath of your feet, you might have to put your flashlights on, you will see a bunch of circles. So these circles are said to have a dual meaning. The first is that the circles are supposed to represent ripples of water, and that's supposed to keep spirits contained into the cemetery. Someone started a theory that spirits can't cross over water. I don't believe that. I think they can go wherever they want to go, especially because this is not the original perimeter of the cemetery. Over there where you see all those lights on the street, that hotel right there, they built that a few years ago, and as they were building it, they found a bunch of bodies from the cemetery under there as they were digging. So, like I said, the cemetery goes at least a block in each direction. So it's kind of silly to me to think that because we put circles here that they're not going to go anywhere. But people have their own opinions. The second meaning is that every circle you see is to represent someone that is buried here that does not have a headstone. So if you look in the cemetery, you will see a couple hundred headstones. There are over 11,000 bodies buried here. A lot of those headstones were kicked over that day from those horses. Some of them just washed away. Some of them got destroyed from people in here doing seances and rituals, stuff like that. So the back wall in the cemetery, that wall is original. If you walk back there and check it out, you will see a bunch of headstones bolted to that wall. Those are the headstones that day that got knocked over from those horses when they stormed into the cemetery to set up camp. So, as far as activity goes, a couple months ago, one of our tour guides was given a stop here. Now he gives his stop all the way down at the other end of the sidewalk, to the right, so like on the other side of the cemetery. Someone broke off from this group and stopped at that bar we passed by on our way here. So, whenever he got here, he saw someone in the cemetery that was wearing a hat similar to what the tour guide was wearing, and tried to get into the cemetery. This cemetery is heavily surveillance. They lock it promptly at 8 p.m. It is way past 8 p.m. So this poor guy tried to jump into the cemetery to join his tour. That was not his tour or his tour guide in there. The police ended up coming out. It was a huge ordeal. So that just goes to show that some of the activity that happens. Again, I told you about the ghost boy. A couple weeks ago, I was getting my stop here, and as I was talking, I kept hearing what sounded like footsteps behind me, like twigs or leaves breaking or crunching. And I mentioned it to the group, and some guy in my group, he pulled out a thermal imaging device out of his backpack, and he comes up to the fence, and he put his arm through the fence like this, and we all got to watch the temperature drop 30 degrees right on the other side of the fence. That was pretty cool to get to experience with an entire group of people. People catch orbs all the time. He caught an orb tonight on his phone. Over the weekend, activity has skyrocketed here. Some people even caught apparitions of people walking around the cemetery. There are videos all over YouTube you can look up of the cemetery, what looks like soldiers or people from that time period walking around, running their hands along headstones, kind of like as if they're trying to find where their family or their loved ones are. Because like I said, while those headstones aren't there anymore, they don't know where they're supposed to go. So, I know that's a lot of information. Any questions? All right, our next stop is the Marshall House. Is anyone here staying there?
Walk their foot layer by layer.
Never, no anesthesia. The second option was the amputation that we talked about, the Sterling House. That was the most common choice. Remember also no anesthesia. So they used to hold the operation or the amputations here at the Marshall House on the first floor. They did that until people complained about the screams coming from the Marshall House. So they moved it up to the fourth floor. So now those men had to march all the way up here and then march up 4 flights of stairs just to get that help that they needed. During yellow fever, the second floor was for the pediatrics. The third floor was for general admittance. Now, same thing with the Sterling House, the hauntings or the activity here. There's a huge list of it. We could talk forever. I'm going to go floor by floor with you guys here at the Marshall House. So the first floor was for the operations. Now, when they first did the operations, the doctor would take those limbs and bones and throw them out into a dumpster behind the Marshall House. They did that until the dogs got in there and littered the streets of Savannah with people's bones. They stopped doing that, and we didn't actually know what they were doing with the bones until in the 1990s. They were doing renovations here. They pulled up those floorboards on the first floor, they put across the big those floorboards overnight until they found all the medical equipment. So then the doctor started storing those bones underneath the entire first floor. Those bones were also found under the floorboards in the kitchen as well. Fine, if you ever go here. Second floor, the most haunted room in the Marshall House is room 207. This room is haunted by children's spirits. So there are a lot of reports of things that happen in room 207. One of the main ones is that a woman went here for a child, and at some point throughout the stay, that kid ended up in the bathroom. I don't know if he was using the bathroom, taking a shower, just playing, and the mom heard the kid talking to something in the bathroom. Not unusual because kids talk to kids aren't there all the time. So that kid came running out the bathroom screaming, "Someone did that." So the mom checked the child over and she did find a bite mark on the back of the neck. It is impossible to bite yourself on the back of the neck. So adults who've stayed in that room without kids have reported it feels like someone was trying to bite them in the middle of the night to pick up some of the buttons on their shirts. The room 207 is also known for having faucets turn on overnight, lights turn on, drawing those people kind of aggressively. Or even a few reports of people waking up and seeing a child in the corner of their room crying blood. That to me is extremely terrifying. I have my own 2 kids that I have to deal with every day. I'm not trying to come here and deal with some little kid trying to bite me while I'm trying to sleep, let alone crying blood from their eyes. You know? So, the second floor in general, people who stay here report hearing kids running up and down the hallway all hours of the night, playing, throwing balls at each other, having a good time. Some of them would love it to tell the kids to be quiet, just love to see out there. Third floor, so 214.
Specific about the second floor that happened in the past. I mean,
That was the pediatrics for yellow fever. So,
What's worse than a real kid?
214